And welcome back. So today I have a very special review. We've got Titans Returns, Xort, and Highbrow. I think that's Xort. I'm going to go ahead and guess there. So anyway, I was at Walgreens today looking for Chrome Dome and their other exclusive, and they didn't have them, but while they're in the back, they ran across this. So thanks to a special coupon for 25% off today and some points I had saved up, this was cheaper than retail. So it was a pretty good deal. Even though I didn't find the ones I was looking for, this is the figure out of the ones I had seen I wanted the most. So let's go ahead and check out the package. We've got a little illustration of him in the back, the vehicle mode here. You already see in the package, he's a pretty good looking figure. There seems to be a lot of detail going on here. And on the back, a little description, image of him in robot mode, then of course the gimmick with the headmaster and the vehicle mode. And it's looking pretty good so far. So let's go ahead and get him open and see if he really lives up to the expectations I was having for this figure. And so here we have him out of the package, and he is a great looking figure, very stable. He's got some nice long heels back here to help him stand up, and he's got these two guns. They're included in the package. They have some alternate configurations, a couple of ports here that allow you to put the guns in the alt mode, as well as a collector card. And this card is sort of a throwback to the original Headmaster series, where when you plug the head in, you would get a set of specs that would appear, and that's what these represent. So there's his specs there, a little illustration on the front of his head combining. But overall, I mean, initially, as soon as we see this figure, I think it's a really great design. Some nice detail molded throughout, lots of little everything from bolt holes and vents and everything. Some really nice work here. And here you can see from behind. Now you can see the immediate flaw, one hull cabs, which of course on the display shelf it won't be that noticeable. And then these propellers do not fold or lock. So they're kind of just going to be loose there as you kind of pose them around. Not a huge gripe, but it is present. It is something to be aware of with this figure. And of course, one thing that would have been nicer is if they did fold back, or at least have some of the other figures I've had, you could turn them and kind of lock them into place. That would have been nice as well. However, with all the other details and gimmicks he has, really strong looking figure. Let's go ahead and look at articulation. Now, like the others, they have a pre-cut slant in the feet so that they have a more dynamic standing pose, but there is no ankle tilt. There's a single knee joint, thigh swivel, then there's some ratcheting in the outward hip, and then forward back hip motion. So overall that's nice. There is no waist articulation, unfortunately, but I'm going to go into the transformation, and I think there's a reason for that. Then in the shoulder, now these ball joints here do tend to sort of pop off during transformation, but they are stiff. So that is a nuisance in transformation, but it is not horrible. There's also a hinge on the inner shoulder, single joint in the elbow, and then a swivel above the elbow. Hands don't have any articulation beyond what's involved in their transformation, but it's not terrible. Now for the head, you have a little bit more down than you would with a typical figure that I've had, but there is no back motion. The only way you can get back is if you move the legs out of the way, and of course that doesn't look right. So we do have the swivel left and right, and there's a really nicely painted face. Now before we go any further, let's go ahead and pull out the other figures I have. And I have Hardhead here, who is the only other main figure from the line I'd gotten. I think he's excellent. They go well together. I will say aesthetically, this one is a little bit better. However, there is some engineering in this one that I think is better as well. So they both have their plus and minuses. Both definitely solid for the collection. And then I've got Cerberus here, just for the only other figure in the line that I do have where there's a compatible head. So you can kind of see these two sort of fall in the same height class. He's a bit taller here. And of course, parts of him are a little more simplified, but of course this is not about him. And then notice there is some similarities with these two heads. They are different molding, but as far as their color scheme, the visor, the paint that's used on the face, there are some similarities there, which is kind of cool. Say if you'd gotten the Hasbro version of this is from the SEC, the Comic-Con version. Say you'd gotten the Hasbro version of this, and you wanted the alternate head, you could have picked up an extra one of these and used his head. That would have been close enough for a lot of people, I think. So let's go ahead and move these aside. And before I go into transformation, quickly I want to show a couple things. One, so these guns here, they have a couple different configurations. And one of them being, you can snap them together. Let's see, other way. Get these little pegs here. And my only gripe about the guns is that you do have this blue plastic here, but it's not the end of the world. Now you could turn his hands, or turn his arms, and have sort of a single kind of gun here, which is seen in some movies, or it's also a turret that could be going in the vehicle mode, and maybe even a flying vehicle, depending on how you want to treat it, because there's little pegs in here where you can plug in their feet. And then quickly, I was going to show some alternate heads. So we just pop his head off, fold his legs, and there we have the robot mode. And it's pretty simple. It seems a little bit less molded detail than some of the others I've had, but they have gone and painted his visor on there, so that is a plus. But he is very color heavy as far as the rest of it goes. But that is such a great head sculpt used in the head mode that it makes up for it. Yeah, it is a fairly simple figure, but it's not bad looking. So we'll go ahead and set him to the side. And just quickly, I'll run through some of these alternate heads that can fit in, just so you guys can get a general idea of some of the head swapping. And while this one has, of course, a different color, the actual design goes well with this. I could see this being used as a repaint for Decepticon, definitely. And here's Ape Face. That one probably goes the least. And then Clobber, but the thing about Clobber is he always looks like Grimlock's head. So, you know, it looks alright with it, but the body does just not feel Grimlock enough to go with that head. And then we've got Loudmouth here. And Loudmouth, his color scheme is perfect for this. I mean, this is very similar blue, the gray is about the same, and then he's got the little orangish red highlights, which are also seen in the stripes here on the vehicle. So this head is an excellent mesh with it, though it is a smaller head than a lot of the others. And then lastly, got that head. And that is definitely not a great head for it, but now you've seen some of the options. So just go out of the way. And for transformation, I love how simple they've done these things to really bring back the vibe of G1. So go ahead and fold these in. They're complicated enough to hold a nice aesthetic, but at the same time they're simple enough where they're fun and most people can do them. So we'll fold the fist in, this chest piece we popped in. It was an unnecessary addition, but it was nice that they'd done that. Definitely some great tampoing of the Autobot symbol here. That's a very nice looking symbol. And then we have the cockpit, folds forward. And then legs. Now this is why we don't have a waist articulation. And this is actually pretty clever. Now, if you remember the first time you've ever messed with a Cyclonus Classics figure, this is reminiscent of just clever engineering that we will see now and probably see more of later. So that whole section extends down, which allows you to fold these legs up. To fold these legs up that way. And then we get the tail of our helicopter. That all just sort of snaps together. And this is a really great looking alt mode. Not just the aesthetic, but the actual quality. Now this is the part, and even though it is simple, it is a little, you just got to be cautious what you're doing here because I don't know how strong this plastic is. You got a tab here and a tab here. And you just shift that shoulder hinge down and you just sort of lock them into place. And it is not, it's not that it's complicated, it's just that you want to be careful because you just don't want to risk breaking any of that. And the same here, just locks down, and there's our helicopter mode. And other than the sort of loose elbows, I mean this kind of keeps it locked in place, it's a pretty cool looking helicopter. It's got a nice mode, but of course the propellers still spin, and there's kind of enough clearance where you can get them both spin at the same time. You've got some landing gear down here. but the landing gear on its own is not functional until you've actually made use of the guns. And then we have a cockpit here that will open. So now we can take our headmister guy and just drop him down there. And there, he's flying the helicopter. So let's go ahead and set him down. And then we've got our 2 guns here. And when I was talking about our turret mode, you have these ports on the side here, and they would actually plug in here, and then you would just have the little Titan Master riding inside. And you could even split it, put one on each end, and you can split it and also use it underneath. So there's all kinds of configurations. And in that same use, so we have this rectangle, this hex peg here. This clip is actually what goes into it. And when you use that clip in that way, and of course you can use it in different ways as well. Well, let's see, how did I do this? It's actually the other side. So there we go. So there we go. We got the clip in, and it makes the blue pegs not stand out when you put it in that way. So we'll go ahead and put the other one in, and you can see there's molded in landing gear on this. So once you set it down, now he has landing gear. So that is, it would have been nice to have the other 2 gear built into the figure, but it is nice that they have thought enough to include this in at least the guns. So it is there. Without the guns, you just fold in the landing gear and then you'd have a flat bottom, and it would still be able to sit that way. But most likely this is going to be displayed in robot mode. But like I said, definitely a solid figure line. I would say versus Hardhead, he's either equal with him or maybe a hair better in some other respects, but definitely on par with him. I think they're both excellent figures. If you collected this one from the G-Line line and you want to get this in respect to that, or you just like the design of the new figures and the gimmicks, definitely worth picking up. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.